Number 8, despair. At the bottom of the list, we have despair, a lady who makes a damp basement feel like a five-star resort. She's the twin sister of desire, but while desire is all about the chase, despair is the cold puddle you land in when the chase ends in a faceplant. She looks like a pale, flabby woman who really needs a spa day and some vitamin D, mostly because her skin is the color of a rainy Tuesday and she spends her time naked, tearing at her own skin with a hooked ring. This is not just some edgy fashion choice, it's the physical version of the internal wreckage she oversees. Her house is a gray, foggy void, where the only decorations are floating mirrors that act as windows into every person having the worst day of their lives. When a heart breaks or a dream hits a brick wall, despair is right there, watching through the glass like a very depressing voyeur. She does not need to hunt you because eventually everyone finds their way to her doorstep. She's the personification of that moment a civilization turns into dust or a god realizes they are actually quite mortal. One crazy feat of hers is that she actually convinced Ra, the sun god, to make people just so they could die and feel sad, which honestly is a level of commitment to the bit that most villains can only dream of. She's the ultimate gravity of the soul, a silent damp force that sits at the bottom of the emotional well and waits for you to stop fighting. If you are near her, your will to do anything, including breathing, just sort of evaporates. She's the personification of why bother, and she wins every fight by simply outsitting her opponents. You cannot really punch a fog of sadness, and she knows it. She's the quiet at the end of the world, accompanied by rats and the sound of dripping water. Everyone meets her at some point, usually right after they realize their gym membership was a waste of money. At least she never has to worry about people ghosting her since they all end up in her mirror eventually. Number 7, desire. You would think the person who controls every single one of your bad decisions would be more organized, but desire is basically a chaotic cat in human form. No, seriously, look at this. She's literally a cat. This twin of despair is a strikingly beautiful androgynous figure who changes looks based on who is looking, which I think is a great way to save money on hair products. Desire lives in the Threshold, a giant statue made of bone and meat that is shaped exactly like them. Because whenever you are the personification of want, modesty is not really in the budget. This is the force that makes the universe move, covering everything from wanting a sandwich to wanting to rule the galaxy. Desire is the active driving hunger that pushes people to do things that are objectively stupid but feel very necessary at the time. While despair is where you land, desire is the reason you jumped in the first place. This sibling is easily the most mean-spirited of the group, treating everyone like a pawn in the game that only they know the rules to. They are higher on the list than despair because making things happen is a lot more powerful than just wanting for things to go wrong. Desire is the one writing the script of every tragedy, pulling strings like a puppet master who is bored and has way too much time on their hands, like you because you're unemployed. One time, they even set up a plot that lasted decades where they graped Unity Kincaid in her sleep just to trick their older brother Dream into breaking a family rule of spilling family blood, which leads to them getting hunted and destroyed by the kindly ones. This to me is one of the most insane feats on this list because it leads to the death of the Dream himself. They could cloud the minds of even the most powerful beings, making them crave things that go against their very nature. It is a sharp, precise kind of power that cuts right through logic and safety. Desire is the hunter, and we are all just very confused prey. They represent the itch you cannot scratch, and the goal you cannot reach. It's the ultimate cosmic influencer, but with a lot more malicious intent, and maybe a much better wardrobe. If you ever feel the sudden urge to buy a yacht you can't afford, you can probably blame this one. Honestly, being a personification of lust and ambition sounds exhausting, but at least the outfit changes are probably top tier. Number 6, Delirium. If you ever wondered what happens when the logic of the universe decides to take a permanent vacation, meet Delirium, the youngest sibling that used to be Delight. She looks like a kid with hair that changes color faster than a mood ring and eyes that do not match with one green and the other blue, which is a pretty accurate look for someone whose mind is in a blender. Her realm, Madness, is a shifting mess of melting clocks and floating whispers that make a normal dream look like a spreadsheets meeting. She is the personification of madness and the moment your brain decides to stop making sense. While most people think she is just a scatterbrained kid, she actually knows secrets that older, smarter siblings have no clue about. She can see paths outside of destiny, which is basically the cosmic version of finding a glitch in the map. When she talks, her words come out in multicolored bubbles because I guess standard sentences are just too boring for her. I'm ranking her higher than Desire because you cannot make someone want something if they have no idea who or where they are. Madness is the ultimate shield against manipulation. You can't play mind games with someone who does not have a floor in their mind. Delirium can turn a genius into a puddle of confusion with a single touch, and there is no logic that can fix it. When she goes on a road trip to save Destruction, even the Dream has a hard time keeping up because she does not follow rules like cause and effect. She can walk through parts of the universe that are off limits to everyone else, mostly because the universe is too confused by her presence to stop her. If she gets mad, she can inflict entire worlds with insanity, which honestly might be a lot more effective than trying to bribe them with desire. She is the unpredictability that keeps the universe from getting too smug. While her siblings are busy managing the rules, she is busy turning the rules into butterflies. She represents the fraying edges of reality where anything can happen, and usually does. Dealing with her is like trying to nail jelly to a moving train, except the train's made of music. That doesn't make sense, does it? Exactly. Number 5, Destruction. Destruction's the guy who walked away from a high-paying corporate job to go paint terrible pictures in the woods, except his job was making sure the universe eventually falls apart. He's a big muscular guy with red hair who looks like he should be winning a Viking feast rather than contemplating the nature of change. About 300 years ago, he realized that humans were getting really good at destroying things themselves, so he quit and became the prodigal. Now he wanders around with a talking dog named Barnabas, trying to write poetry and cook meals that are generally described as brave attempts. He is not just about blowing stuff up. He represents the idea that things have to end so new things can start. He is entropy with both a smile and a very large sword he tries not to use. Even though he left his post, things still break and stars still die because he's the concept itself. And the concept does not need a manager to keep working. He is stronger than Delirium because he is a physical fact that cannot be ignored. Madness is a glitch in the software, but Destruction is the hardware eventually wearing out. He has a level of maturity that the younger siblings lack, mostly because he has the sense to leave before the atomic age made his job too depressing. When he shows up, he's the grounding force that can actually handle the chaos of his sisters. You cannot really argue with a guy who embodies the end of everything, yet chooses to spend his time making bad art. He possesses enough raw power to make even the scariest beings back off. But he would rather talk about the stars or share a drink. He is the certainty that underpins every moment of existence, the silence that follows the noise. While Delirium is the mess, Destruction is the cleanup crew that eventually comes for everyone. He represents the ultimate freedom of letting go of your destiny to go find something better. He's the only one of the endless who figured out that if you don't like your job, you could just leave it to a talking dog. It's honestly a bold move to quit the universe, but at least he has a hobby now. Number 4, Destiny. Imagine a monk who is literally chained to a book that contains every single thing that has ever happened or will ever happen, and you have destiny. He is the oldest of the siblings, at least in the traditional sense, and I would say he's about as fun as a tax audit. He's blind, wears a heavy brown robe, and leaves no footprints because he's so focused on his book that he barely exists in the physical world. His realm, Garden of Foreking, is a giant maze of paths, and he knows exactly which one you're going to take before you even put your shoes on. He does not guess the future, he just reads the spoilers. He's the ultimate observer, acting only because the script tells him he has to. He is higher on the list than Destruction because even the act of quitting a job is something that was already written in his book. Destruction thinks he made a choice, but Destiny just turned the page and saw it coming. He represents the framework of casualty, the if this then that of the entire cosmos. You cannot break something if it was not destined to be broken, which makes him the boss of the timeline. If that wasn't crazy enough, he has no shadow because there's no light or dark for him, only the text. He is the personification of the idea that everything is already settled and we're just moving through the motions. While the other siblings have personalities and drama, Destiny is just a function of the universe. He is the map of time itself, and every explosion, dream, or crazy thought is just another sentence in his never-ending log. He knows the end of the story, which probably makes movies really boring for him. He's the ultimate authority on what is possible because if it is not in the book, it simply cannot happen. He is the silent, stoic anchor of the family, the one who reminds everyone else that they are part of a larger narrative they cannot escape. His power is the power of the inevitable, the slow and steady march of the pages turning. He's the one who knows exactly how this all ends, but he is definitely not giving out any spoilers. This guy in his book might be powerful, but there's someone who might be able to bypass them. Number 3, Dream. Now moving on to the big leagues, we have Dream. Dream is a personification of stories and imagination, and he's basically the universe's moody goth artist. He goes by many names like Morpheus or the Shaper, and he looks like a very thin man with stars for eyes and hair that looks like it was stylized by a thunderstorm. His realm, the Dreaming, is an infinite playground, made of every thought, nightmare, and weird idea everyone has ever had. He is not just about what you see when you sleep, he's the guy who defines what we think is real. If enough people dream of a different world, he can change literally the way the universe works. This gives him a dynamic kind of power that even the rigid Destiny cannot compete with. While Destiny reads the book, Dream is the one who provides the ideas that write the sentences. In one of his biggest adventures in the Overture storyline, the universe was falling apart because of a time cancer. He actually went ahead and recreated the entire universe from scratch. That is a level of creative power that makes him more than just a guy who manages sleep. He is the Lord of Stories, and stories have a habit of surviving even after the world ends. He can be arrogant and cold, but he also is capable of changing his own nature, which is something a rigid concept like Destiny can never do. He is the source of the what if that keeps life interesting. When the pages of Destiny's book go blank because of some cosmic disaster, Dream is the one who picks up the pen and starts a new chapter. He represents the potential for things to be different, the spark of creativity that can rewrite the rules of reality. He has fought demons like Troronzon in hell and gods like the Mad Star and the stars, all while wearing a very dramatic cape. He is the person who reminds us that reality is just a story we all agreed on. Without him, the universe would just be a series of cold, hard facts with no flavor. He's the king of the maybe, the architect of the impossible, and the guy who makes sure your nightmares have the right lighting. He's the proof that a good story is the most powerful thing in existence, even if the author is a bit of a drama queen. It's impressive to be that powerful and still look like you need a very long nap. Number 2, Death. If there is one person in this family you actually want to hang out with, it's Death, which honestly is a bit of a plot twist. She does not look like a skeleton with a scythe. She looks like a cheerful goth girl with an Ankh necklace and a surprisingly very friendly attitude. She is the second eldest and most grounded of the bunch, mostly because she spends a lot of time with people at their most honest moments. She's there when you're born and she's there when you leave, acting as a kind of cosmic tour guide for the great unknown. Every single being in the universe, from a tiny bug to a massive sun god, eventually sees her face. She's the absolute bounty of life, and even her proud brother Dream listens to her because she's the only one who could truly put him in his place. She is stronger than Dream because every dream eventually has to end. When an endless dies, she is the one who comes to collect them, making her the ultimate authority in the family. She represents the final punctuation mark on the sentence of existence. When her siblings are busy with their realms and their dramas, she is just doing her job with a smile and a see you later. She is the only one who will still be around when the universe finally runs out of steam and the lights go out. Which is why many people actually think she's the strongest of all the Endless. But let me know in the comments if you agree. She's not a scary monster. She's the inevitable conclusion that gives life its meaning. Without her, everything would just go on forever and get very, very boring. She is the one who keeps the balance, the final reality that no one can escape. Her power is absolute, because you cannot fight the end of things. Not only that, what I like about her the most is that she is the only sibling who seems to actually enjoy her job, because probably she gets to meet everyone eventually. She is the ultimate leveler, the one who treats kings and beggars exactly the same. When the party of existence is finally over, she's the one who makes sure everyone gets home okay. In the end, I think it's oddly comforting to know that the end of everything has such a great sense of style and a nice personality. Number 1, Father Time and Mother Night. Before there was anything, there was Father Time and Mother Night, the cosmic parents who are so strong they make the endless look like toddlers. Mother Night is the absolute void, the darkness that existed before the first star even thought about glowing. She's a vast, beautiful space of nothingness and potential. Father Time is the progression of everything, the literal clock of the cosmos that makes sure one thing happens after another. Together, they are the canvas and the frame for the entire universe. They do not just manage facets of life, they're the conditions that allow life to happen in the first place. You cannot have a dream or a death if you do not have it time for it to happen in, or a night for it to stand against. They are the ultimate source, the alpha and the omega of everything that exists. In the grand hierarchy, the creators are always going to outrank the creations, which is why I have these two at the top of this list. When Dream met them, he realized he was just a small part of their much larger story. They operate on a scale that is so big, it's hard for a human mind to even imagine. Death might close the universe down, but Father Time's the one who owns the lease. They are the architects of reality, the ones who set the rules that even the endless have to follow. Mother Night is the background of every star, and Father Time is the reason those stars eventually burn out. They're the ultimate power couple of the multiverse, seeing the beginning and the end from a place that is outside of both. What's even crazier is that they don't need to play games or have realms because they are the realm. Their authority is absolute because it is foundational. Without them, the other siblings would not even have a floor to stand on. They represent the origin of all concepts, the deep roots of the cosmic tree. Even though it is a bit intimidating to realize the universe has parents, especially when they are this powerful, but at least you know where the family drama started and why everyone in it is so complicated. It's a lot of responsibility to be the literal start of everything, but they seem to handle it with a lot of quiet dignity. At the end of the day, you have to respect the people who were there before the let there be light moment even happened. That's it for this one. If you liked the video, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and ring the bell so you never miss a drop. Craving more stories from comics, movies, and beyond? Check out this video right here. And cheers! I'll see you in the next one.